welcome to the assembly video for the Super Magnum. This is a 40mm grenade launcher of my own design. The file is available at Colts 3D, and the link will be available down in the description. So, first things first, when you download the design, obviously you're going to print all of the parts. Of note, not all the parts need to be printed, right? So on this, I'm going to try and get everything on camera. Okay, so on this, there are multiple of these. These are grip panels. Okay, it'll say small, medium, large, and filler. Filler will be flush with the original grip. Okay, flush with the original grip. Then you have this as a small, and then it goes medium, large from there. The second thing is going to be an optional cover. If you don't like the look of this rail, there is a piece that makes it a flush fit with this rib on the top and the barrel there. So first thing, when you get your print done, obviously you're going to post-process it like you would any other print. You're going to take off all the supports. You're going to sand it, file it as needed, whatever you end up doing. But then one thing of note is you're going to want to check fitment with your grenades. Now, this is, as of right now, specifically designed for the ASG 65 round grenade. I picked this one specifically because it had good reviews and it was the cheapest one on eVike. The link is in the description for the 3D file. Okay, so you want to check fitment there. It should fit nice and flush. Okay, you might need to break it in a bit, might need to clean it, but it should fit flush. And then it has two little thumb cutouts so you can grab it, yank it out. Okay. Second thing you're going to want to do with whatever projectile you are using, you're going to want to check fitment because this is a rifled barrel. I'll explain that as well in a second, but you want to check fitment. So here is a tag. I believe these are pecker rounds. Okay. Nice and smooth. Here is a 3D printed round from another creator on Colts 3D, yeah, and that is a little tight, but still goes under light finger pressure. Remember, these are going to be under compressed air, so light finger pressure is fine. This is one of my own design. I'll get to why it has a tail in a second, but this one is specifically designed for this launcher, and the back comes off. You would glue this on, but the back comes off so you can fill it with chalk or whatever you're filling it with. And that goes through just fine. Now, the reason for the tail, if you couldn't guess already, is so it fits. This is a prototype. The fit will be a little bit tighter, but this way, the idea is a nice snug fit. So that way you can carry these on a belt and you're not going to lose that. Okay, so pretty simple. So you check the fit, make sure everything fits. Now, I was fortunate, so with the 3D printed one, all I had to do to clean up the barrel to post-process it was get it set there and push it through a couple times to break it in. How you would load this is with one there, and then your choice of projectile in the barrel, right? So, yeah. So, on to assembly. I've done some things before filming. Okay, first is going to be the latch. Okay, there is a part called thumb rest. That just gets glued onto the end there. Saves you from having to support the object underneath. That should be printed vertically. The thumb rest should be printed vertically, so because there's a hole in there. Also, I went ahead and epoxied this on. Now, of note, it does need a full ring of epoxy and a good seal on there, because when this fires, there is a nice seal around the back, and there's a seal around the projectile. But if you don't have a nice seal up here, you'll get gases venting out and limit your range. Okay. So, and then the other thing is I just pressed this into place. Pretty self-explanatory. There is, let me take it off real quick. It should be a friction fit. You can glue them on, but if you glue them on, you're going to need multiple of these in case you ever want to switch out sizes, or in the future I will have a stock made for this at the request of one of the guys I play Airsoft with. So it just press fits on like that. So, and it should be nice and snug. Depending on your printer tolerances is how tight that gap is going to be. I'm still working with this filament, so that's what it is for right now. Next thing you're going to want to do is push in. Okay, you have 3 nuts on the body there, 1 nut on the grip there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. You can press these in now. If it's too tight, you can use the screws to pull it through. What you can do is, with the screws linked in the description, screw size is linked in the description of the Colts 3D page, you can take the longest screw, put it all the way through, okay, put it all the way through the holes, like so, and then you screw that in, and when it gets tight, it's going to pull that nut in and lock it into place. They are hex-shaped recesses for the nuts, so it should prevent them from turning once they're in place. So first thing you're going to do is grab your trigger. So this is your trigger. This is the part that is going to press against the back of the grenade, like so. Okay. This is your trigger, and this is your spring hole, right? So you're going to take the larger of the springs. Again, that's going to be, sizes are going to be in the description of the Colts 3D listing. Okay, so you're going to put that through the other one. Okay, you're going to put it you're going to take your left body, you're going to put it on there. Then you're going to take one of the shorter screws. All 3 of these are going to be the same length, so you're going to take one of your shorter screws, you're going to put it through like so, and try and get it as far as possible. You're going to push that through all the way like that. Make sure it can move freely, and then you're going to take your right side body and go ahead and screw those together. Okay. Now, one thing, if it's too tight, it'll be really stiff to pull the trigger, and it won't reset like that. So you go ahead and just back that off a little bit. What I recommend is pull the trigger. So tighten it all the way. Pull the trigger like so. So the firing pin, air quotes firing pin, is exposed. Go ahead and loosen that screw until it slips all the way back under its own weight. And you can test that again. A little spongy, but it'll do. So then you're going to take your latch. So this piece here, this cutout, this notch right here is going to be for your spring. Okay. So you might need glue, you might not need glue. That's going to depend on your printer settings. So take your spring, put it in there, or it's a little bit more difficult, but you can put your spring in there, into the hole, in the body itself. you take your latch, recapture that spring, ignoring my shaky hands. Okay. And go ahead and put another screw in like that. Okay, and go ahead and slide that through. Okay, lining it up with the hole on the other side, and press it firmly into place. Now, what can help as well is if any of these screws aren't going into the recesses, you can either cut them out like this one I cut with a Dremel, so it's a bit easier. They do fit, just for some reason I'm having problems with this silver filament, and it's not as dimensionally accurate as the black filament I was using. So if it doesn't fit, you can either take pliers, grip both sides, squeeze and crimp them together or push them together, or you can take a Dremel and cut out the holes. And then we'll just go ahead and tighten that one. Same thing, so once we get the thread, a little hard to do on camera, once we get it threaded into the nut on the other side, you'll see that the latch is, if it's tightened all the way, it's going to be a little stiff or not, depending on your dimensional, your printer dimensions. So you might have to sand it or do the same trick where you tighten it all the way and then loosen it just a hair. Now, one thing of note as well is by tensioning this one down, we are also tensioning the trigger just make sure everything works when it's all together. Then we have the grip, okay? And again, go ahead and snap that together, whichever one you want. There is, like I said, a filler, a small, a medium, and a large. This is the small option just for demonstration. And go ahead and seat that. Now, you don't want to glue the grip on because, like I said, you'll have to print another one if you buy the stock that will be coming out soon. I just need to test print it and get it ready. But if you have the stock and you glue this one on, well, it uses the same attachment method. Now, I would recommend if you have the stock, go ahead and just print a second grip and glue the stock in because it's going to be more stable, but that's up to you. So once that's on, you can see the holes lined up. Now, depending on your printer, you might need to shove it a little bit, compress it and push it through. You can also just screw it in. Okay. So even though it's not in the nut yet, it's pulling itself through on the PLA. Now this screw is a little bit short because I need to make a trip to the hardware store, but you get the idea. So that's nice and snug in there. Hasn't quite reached the nut, but that'll hold for this right now. Okay, last thing to go on, so we make sure our trigger works, and there will be more spring tension from the spring in the grenade as well. But the last thing to go on is going to be the barrel. Now, I like to put the barrel on and close the latch just so it's a little easier to hold. Applying pressure with my finger and holding everything in place, and then drop that screw in there, and once it catches on the threading, it'll snug up nice and tight. Okay. Another thing of note is you can also replace these nuts with lock nuts if you want. I didn't think it was super necessary, but there you go. Nice and easy function. So there's a spring loaded latch. You might have to press it a little bit when it's breaking in. This is fresh off the printer, so you might have to press the latch forward just a little bit to make sure it locks, but it should hold under tension. And so you fold that forward, go ahead and load that, locks into place. Then grab your round of choice. I'm going to use the pecker round. Go ahead and muzzle load that. And then when you fire, it fires like that. Okay. It's the importance of locking your barrel into place, but you get the idea. So yeah, again, it'll be down in the comments section. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can either message me on that or message me or comment on this video. So I hope everyone likes it, finds it interesting, finds it cool. This was a passion project to help airsofters save money, because if this is $20, then a shell is another $25, and whatever projectile you use, and you can get the whole thing for under the price of one tag-in shell and do pretty much the same thing. So there you go. There's a better picture of it. Yep, if you found it interesting, go ahead and leave a comment. If you'd like to purchase it, go ahead and follow the link in the description. And remember, stay safe and stay hydrated.